I wanted to, y'all could bring those bitches in from like Argentina. And then still, if you put them in the barrels and did the whole kit and caboodle here, then it's a Colorado wine. Is that technically correct?
If you buy your wheat for your beer in Nebraska, that doesn't mean you're not a Denver microbrewery.
So technically, like Budweiser, like they have to get shit from everywhere. They're still from St. Louis or whatever. Gotcha. Okay. You learn something new every day. That's the first question. And Melissa, this will be my follow-up. We've mentioned or asked about the dynamic or the ever-changing scene, like what poses threats and things of that nature. Let's talk about the fact that you just started a company that is a brilliant concept, and I love it dearly. And, I wouldn't put the Kip Wilson stamp of approval on something if I didn't truly believe in it. Let's talk about the Vino Pass. You mentioned that there's a lot of breweries and there's other things going on around Colorado. How can we help? What does the Vino Pass do for our followers, and how can we help succeed? Is there more restaurants that we want to find to help out, or what woes do we see in the Colorado market for that growing industry as well?
Oh, definitely. I think like James had mentioned, the Colorado scene still struggles a little bit to kind of find its identity, and because it's still newer and the production totals aren't massive. They can't compete price-wise to, things that people know on menus like Kendall Jackson Chardonnay.
That's my mom's favorite. You just nailed it.
It's a best-selling Chardonnay for sure. But, so the Vino Pass helps people get into the places where they can have these new experiences, to try a Viognier, for instance, or Colorado Cabernet Franc, and try something new. But it also helps bolster these local businesses here, that we're not supporting a big, massive factory winery in California. We're supporting local people here who are pouring their, blood, sweat, and tears into what they're producing, and supporting local Colorado farmers. And, it might not be the same, but it's a different and interesting and unique experience to try these Colorado wines. And I think also in Colorado, because we have this kind of ability to have these blended wines, not specifically in one wine that's blended, but like what James is doing, bringing California wine into Colorado and creating a tasting room experience here. And Carboy is doing that as well, because they have Italian Sangiovese as well as Colorado-grown Cabernet Franc, that you can kind of experience a lot of different things in one location here in Colorado. And I think that's not something you get in California, because California is really well known for producing their own wines. And, California would never have a winery that was bringing in Colorado grapes, for instance. So you wouldn't get to try those things side by side. You may, right?
We
may. But you wouldn't get to have that kind of experience where you can have here, where you have people producing Colorado wines as well as wines from other places, and you can kind of get that whole contrast and compare experience in one visit. And I think that's something that's really cool about the wine industry here in Colorado specifically, and in Denver especially, that you can kind of have that kind of global travel experience in one small city.
Speaking of global travel experience, you really nail that accent. Whenever you have to throw in like a foreign word, you kill it. As a Southerner, I butcher every word, from street names all the way down the line to names of wines in like a book. I'm like, I'll just point at that one. 7B, as like the Chinese folks say at the restaurant. I'm just like, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll take one of those. That looks great. But I just want to comment that you nailed it right there. Well done.
So with making this Vino Pass and coming up with this idea, you've obviously visited probably all the places in there. So what would you tell somebody, skip that brewery you're going to go to on Saturday, maybe visit it on Sunday, and head to a winery in Denver? Like what's going to pull people to both those kind of things?
Besides the great deals that everyone would be able to get in the Vino Pass, someone was a little bit more.
I think especially I feel a kind of empathy towards female drinkers who maybe struggle to find that local experience here in Denver because they aren't aware of local wine experiences they can have. I think a lot of younger drinkers think, Denver has breweries. So if you want the local experience, you go to a brewery. Otherwise, you go to a restaurant and you kind of blankly stare at the wine list and then just kind of pick something based on price and how it sounds. So to me, it was really important to make the Vino Pass to give people who love wine access to the local industry, and then also to get people who maybe are underrepresented in some of the beer-focused passports, or, you know, the kind of eclectic passports that are everything in between. You know, I think a lot of female drinkers are a little intimidated by a guide full of old fashions and heavy whiskey cocktails. I gifted my sister, for instance, one of the beer passports, and she handed it right back. She's like, I don't like breweries. I just don't like drinking beer. And I was like, okay, fine, fair enough. And then a month later, I bumped into her at a brewery, and I was like, what are you doing here? And she's like, this is just where my friends hang out, you know, because you get that local experience. You know, you get the places that have board games in the tasting room. You get to bring in your own food. You get live music. And I think a lot of people just weren't aware that you could have that experience as well in a winery. And so that's what the Vino Pass is all about. We even put like a little guide on there that says, like, if you can bring in your own food, if the places are dog friendly, if they have live music, which a lot of the spots down here in Denver do. So,
and for the record, as most of our listeners know, I'm with your sister in that boat. I would rather drink, a red wine, but I'm also in kind of the unknown area where I don't really know what I'm looking at when I look at the page or the book, so to speak. So I usually refer to someone that is more knowledgeable, but at the same time, not a big brewery guy. Like I will drink Budweiser, and second time I've shout out Anheuser, but at the same time, I'm in that same boat. So like, I get it. And that's why I kind of hit home to me. And so when we spoke, I was like, hell yeah, I would love to join you for a conversation. But at the same time, I'm with you. And, like the brewery scene and the winery scene can coexist, but at the same time, you've managed to make it a little bit easier and bring a little bit more light to the scene. Outside of just the wineries, I noticed that you may have a couple of restaurants on the list as well. Let's talk a little bit of food. Y'all want to talk a little Denver food? We like to get a little bit of high and then talk a lot of food. Let's talk some food. So we're going to go in deep into the nitty gritty, but seeing as y'all all have a little bit of Colorado time and experience on your hands, we kind of want to know what y'all do with, let's say, I know y'all are all in, working difficult times, but at the same time, if you had a day off, where are we spending our days? Like if you're a wine fan, obviously, where do you like to get your cocktail if it's not from your location? We promote local businesses, so you don't have to feel bad giving a shout out to a restaurant as long as it's not Taco Bell, Kelly. Where do we like to hang out? So,
for me, before we opened our spot, we actually spent a lot of time touring our neighbor wineries. I've been to Carboy 6-7 times. I've been to Bixby's Folly, Info Monkey Theorem, Deep Roots, all the guys, just to really immerse myself and see what people were tasting around here. Now that I'm open, I don't have the time to go do that.
Rest in peace, Saturdays.
I know. They'll be back. Hopefully, I'll take my staff wants to. So you'll see my staff down there at Carboy here as soon as we get a day to shut down and do some training. But most of my focus right now, because of work, is around the dairy block. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Lodo right now within the last couple of years. So for drinking, Pony Up is our late night spot right now. They're one of the few places that have food till 2 a.m. every night of the week. So you get off work and Pony Up is ready to go. 7 Grand on the corner is a nice whiskey bar that we frequent quite a bit. Pocalola won an award for one of the best designed hotel bars in America. It's a great space to grab a drink. And this neighborhood down here has just got some great new restaurants as well. That when we can get a night off, Chow Morso, Morin. Those are some of our neighbors that we love eating at. And Denver's got so much. You could go out every night of the week and still hit a new spot. So
we try.
We try
our damnedest.
So one place I haven't heard of though is this Pocalola.
Pocalola is the bar in the Maven Hotel in the middle of the dairy block. The dairy block is just a fantastic new development here in Denver. It's a spot with restaurants, retail shopping, office space,
right?
Hotel.
I've been in there. I guess I just didn't notice this bar. Is it like, because there's that hotel, or I guess there's the front desk right there or something. Is the bar like kind of
back? It's next to Comanche or is that Cucina?
But yeah, right next to the hotel lobby there.
Okay,
you got the bar. You walk right through the back of the bar and you run into our winery. So you can actually sit at the hotel bar and look at our winery, or sit in our winery and look at the hotel bar. So those are some great downtown spots here.
And you mentioned Pony Up. We posted that turkey sandwich, that Thanksgiving sandwich. That thing fucks. Oh my god! With the cranberry mayonnaise and the gravy dip.
Oh, you got to do brunch there. You got
to do the Saigon. The Saigon is
the bottom meat one?
Yeah, with the pho broth. I was there on the first and the second.
Dude, it's so good. Denise got us.
They know we buy first and last name.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Man, shout
it's 50% off Bubbles after 11 p.m. and then on Sunday it's 50% off Bubbles all day.
Man,
so I'm gonna be there Sunday.
Guess what?
We might see each other.
Yeah. All right, and then so Melissa, I know that Chris just asked you. You've obviously tasted the town of wines. Where is the happening spots that you like? I guess enjoy snacks, cocktails, happy hours, things of that nature. What's your jam?
Oh, kind of everywhere. I don't discriminate. Like I said, I know that a lot of people feel underrepresented by the beer books that are out there, but I enjoy beer too. I love whiskey cocktails, so I definitely. Yesterday we just discovered the land of 75-cent lunch martinis at
Hell yeah.
Tupelo Honey.
Yeah, did you get the fried chicken sandwich?
We did not. I did their half sandwich, half soup, half salad combo deal that they had, and I was like, I can't believe I walked out of there for $15 with a cocktail. Like, my God. So that definitely was exciting. I think it's great that a lot of the wineries also are showcasing food. Which not all of them have to do. And some it's as simple as fantastic charcuterie and cheese plates, which obviously pairs well with wine. But a lot of them have full pasta and pizza menus too. And I think that's really cool because wine is created to enjoy with food. And I think that's a really important part of the experience. So, but the option to bring your own at a lot of the wineries here too is a fantastic way, again, like James said, to save money on a date because you can go there, just pay straightforward prices for the wine and, bring in your own pizza or bring in your own pasta and have a really cool evening or do the
food truck scene is also
thing.
Popping off at those, like beer, whiskey, like you mentioned $7 grand. I don't think they have a kitchen either. It's just booze over there. And so it seems like that almost is a theme now. And I'm going to ask Tyzok because he mentioned Angela's and I love a good happy hour. And then he also mentioned Pony Up. So it seems like we may be on the same wavelength here. But where's your jam? What jelly's your donut?
I'm all over the place. I tell you what, I really enjoy Izakaya Ronin for a cocktail and their ramen. I mean, I like the idea of going into a basement and just lounging for 2 or 3 hours. Even though you're in a cellar all day, no sunlight. But yeah, that's one of my go-to spots. For cheaper eats, I really like Federal. I mean, you get some great meals on Federal, like Tony Pho for pho. Love pho. I mean, it's a hangover serum. Pho is phenomenal at Tony Pho.
All right, so you're a South Federal guy yourself. So I used to live down there off of like Mississippi. And so like
That's where Tony Pho is. Yeah.
And then like Star Kitchen and all those guys, 456 or 456.
Yeah.
Those are all fire, and we should do a taste of Federal if y'all are down.
Oh, yeah.
But we could do a fuck, marry, kill of just restaurants in Federal. It's fantastic. So yeah, well done. I like it. So nice name drops. I like what everyone's thinking. I want to get back to you real quick, Melissa, though. If you had to name one place or one food truck or one like restaurateur, because we do like to get into the nitty gritty of the food scene as well. What's your jam? What's your scene?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I was asked this question a couple months ago at a Women Who Travel meetup, and they're like, okay, we're here in Denver. Like, what's the best spot to go? And people were throwing out all kinds of recommendations for everything from sushi, which there are great sushi spots here, but like, that's not what Denver's identity is. I lived in Japan and I would have a hard time telling a New Yorker, like, you got to come to Denver and eat sushi. And I do love like the pho, the Vietnamese community here. Fantastic. But I definitely think green chili is where it's at. So that's like my go-to recommendation. I was like, you have to go somewhere that is smothering things in green chili. Like that is the Colorado Denver thing. And so I don't have like one particular favorite place, but I think like any of the diners that do like for breakfast today, I had a chili relleno smothered in green chili. And that to me was like a perfect Colorado breakfast. So I think if Denver has one identity, that might be it.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And so one thing you may have actually stolen a question I was going to ask later, which was red or green chili. You may have already answered that, but we're all from different places. So some folks may be team red.
So one thing I noticed too, I see like we're pouring some wine out of kind of like almost like a growler type vessel. So do wineries around Denver offer fill-ups? Or, like, if I go to, because,